You wake up in the morning and something feels off. Your legs are heavy, your steps are slower. The chair that once felt easy to rise from now requires both hands to push yourself up. Many of my patients over 60 tell me, "Doctor, I thought it was just age." But the truth is, these are not simply signs of aging. They can be the first warnings of muscle loss, sarcopenia, and even the early decline of brain health. As a neurologist with 3 decades of experience, I have walked alongside thousands of seniors in America. I've seen how memory fades, how muscles weaken, and how independence slowly slips away. But I've also seen something else: hope. Because science today shows that your brain and your muscles are not doomed to decline. With the right foods, with the right habits, you can fight back. So I ask you, have you ever felt your legs shaking when you stood up from the couch? Have you noticed your memory slipping more often than before? If you have, please comment the number 1 below. If you haven't, comment the number 0. I want to hear your story because your story may inspire someone else today. Stay with me, because in this video, I will share with you 2 powerful brain foods that can protect your memory, fight dementia, and even help you walk stronger. Number 1, the real face of Alzheimer's. When we talk about Alzheimer's disease, we are not only talking about forgetting where the keys are or missing an appointment. We are talking about the slow breakdown of the brain itself, a process that steals memories, personalities, and independence. Inside the brain of someone with Alzheimer's, there are 2 main enemies at work. The first is the buildup of amyloid beta protein, often described as sticky clumps of garbage between brain cells. Imagine a city where trash trucks stop running. Day by day, garbage piles up in the streets until no one can walk through. That is what happens inside the brain when amyloid plaques accumulate. The second enemy is what scientists call neurofibrillary tangles. These are twisted fibers inside the nerve cells, like wires in your home that have become knotted and useless. Once the wires tangle, the current can no longer flow, and the brain's communications system starts to fail. When these 2 forms of damage grow worse over time, brain cells die. And when enough brain cells die, the symptoms appear: memory loss, confusion, personality changes, and eventually the inability to recognize family or perform the simplest daily tasks. Some people believe that this process is just a natural part of aging, but that is not true. The National Institute on Aging has shown in multiple studies that while age is the greatest risk factor, Alzheimer's is a disease, not an inevitable step of getting older. That means there are choices we can make to protect the brain, even in later years. As a doctor, I have seen patients go from remembering every detail of their grandchildren's stories to not knowing their names. I have also seen families grieve the loss of connection long before the body passes away. Alzheimer's is not only a medical condition, it is a human tragedy that touches everyone in the family. But here is the important truth. By understanding what is really happening inside the brain, you and I gain power. Knowledge shows us the pathways to prevention, and it reminds us that while we may not change our age, we can change the way we live and eat. And those changes can mean the difference between a fading memory and a lasting legacy. Number 2, the role of genetics, doomed or just vulnerable. When people hear that Alzheimer's disease can run in families, they often ask me with fear in their eyes, "Doctor, does this mean I am doomed?" The truth is more balanced, and it is important to understand it clearly. One of the most studied genetic factors in Alzheimer's disease is called the ApoE4 gene. If you inherit 1 copy of this gene from either your father or your mother, your risk of developing Alzheimer's is 2 to 3 times higher than the general population. If you inherit 2 copies, 1 from each parent, your risk rises even further, up to 8 to 12 times more than average. Numbers like that can sound frightening. But let us pause here. Carrying the ApoE4 gene is not the same as having a guaranteed future with Alzheimer's. It increases vulnerability, but it does not seal your fate. Think of it like this. Genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle often pulls the trigger. The food you eat, the stress you carry, the exercise you choose, and the sleep you protect all play powerful roles in determining whether the disease develops or how quickly it progresses. I have had patients with a strong family history of dementia who reach their 80s and 90s with sharp minds and strong memories. I have also seen patients with no family history at all who developed Alzheimer's in their 70s. This shows us that genes are only part of the story. What is important for you to remember is that genes are information, not destiny. Knowing that you carry risk factors should be seen as an opportunity, not a sentence. It gives you the chance to take preventive steps earlier and with greater discipline. The American press has covered this in depth. The New York Times once reported that lifestyle changes, including diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and omega-3 fats, can reduce the risk even for those with ApoE4. This is empowering news because it means your daily choices still matter more than your DNA. So if Alzheimer's runs in your family, do not sink into despair. Instead, let that knowledge light a fire under you. Each meal, each walk, each night of restful sleep is a step away from fear and a step toward protecting your mind. Remember, you are vulnerable, not doomed. Number 3, oxidative stress, how the brain rusts from within. If you have ever left a piece of metal out in the rain, you know what rust looks like. It begins slowly, a small patch of orange, and then spreads until the surface is weak and fragile. The same process in a different form can happen inside the brain. Doctors call it oxidative stress, but I often explain it to my patients as the brain beginning to rust from within. Oxidative stress occurs when harmful molecules, known as free radicals, build up in the body. Under normal conditions, our cells produce free radicals during daily metabolism, and the body balances them with antioxidants. But when the balance is lost, free radicals multiply, damaging proteins, fats, and even DNA. In the brain, this damage can make it harder to clear away amyloid beta proteins, those sticky clumps linked to Alzheimer's disease. Where do these free radicals come from? They increase with diets full of fried foods and processed meats, with chronic stress, with smoking, and even with exposure to certain environmental toxins. Imagine every cigarette puff, every plate of greasy food, every night of restless sleep as one more drop of rust dripping onto the brain. Over time, the damage adds up. Research from the National Institute on Aging has shown that high levels of oxidative stress are strongly linked to faster cognitive decline. This is why two people of the same age can have very different brain health. One person may still be reading books and telling stories, while another struggles to recall the names of family members. The encouraging news is that oxidative stress can be fought. Antioxidants found in colorful fruits, vegetables, and certain vitamins act like a cleaning crew, sweeping away excess free radicals before they cause deep damage. Studies covered by USA Today have pointed out that diets rich in berries, nuts, and leafy greens are associated with sharper memory and lower rates of dementia in seniors. So oxidative stress is not destiny. It is a warning sign and a reminder. Just as you would not allow rust to eat through the frame of your car, you should not allow oxidative stress to eat away at the foundation of your memory. Every meal and every choice matters. You can slow and even reverse the rusting of the brain. Number 4, super brain food number 1, good fats that protect your memory. For decades, many of us were told that fat was the enemy. I still remember when patients proudly told me they had cut all fat from their diets, believing they were protecting their hearts and their brains. But the truth is more nuanced. Not all fats are created equal, and some fats are absolutely essential to keeping your brain strong. Let me explain. The human brain is nearly 2/3 fat. Every nerve cell is wrapped in a fatty membrane that protects it and allows messages to travel quickly. Without healthy fats, these membranes weaken, communication slows, and the brain becomes more vulnerable to damage. The dangerous fats are the saturated and trans fats that often hide in fried foods, processed snacks, and even the bacon grease many of us grew up with. Studies in Chicago following more than 800 seniors showed that those who ate the most saturated fat had more than double the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease compared to those who ate the least. That is a sobering number. But there is good news. Fats from fish, walnuts, flax seeds, and olive oil, what we call omega-3 fatty acids, act like medicine for the brain. These fats reduce inflammation, strengthen cell membranes, and even improve memory. They are the very opposite of the fats that create harm. I often ask my patients to imagine this. Every time you choose salmon over fried chicken or a handful of walnuts over a bag of chips, you are literally feeding your brain the material it needs to rebuild and repair. That choice, made day after day, can add years of clarity to your life. Now let me ask you, do you remember a time when a simple change in diet made you feel more energetic, sharper, or more alive? Maybe it was eating more fresh vegetables or cutting out a processed food that left you sluggish. Share that story in the comments below. Your experience may be the encouragement someone else needs to begin their journey today. As your doctor and companion on this path, I want you to know this. Good fats are not your enemy. They are your allies. With them, you can defend your memory and protect your independence. Number 5. Super brain food number 2. Natural antioxidants as brain shield. If good fats are the building blocks of a strong brain, then antioxidants are the shields that protect it. They fight against one of the greatest threats we discussed earlier, oxidative stress, the rusting of brain cells. Without antioxidants, the damage spreads silently. But with them, the brain has a powerful line of defense. Antioxidants are nutrients found in everyday foods. Vitamin E, for example, is a fat-soluble nutrient that guards cell membranes from free radical damage. A clinical trial published in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed more than 600 people with mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Those who received vitamin E had a slower decline in memory and function compared to those who did not. And you do not need a pill to get vitamin E. A small handful of almonds, sunflower seeds, or spinach can supply it in its natural form. Vitamin C is another essential player. It works hand in hand with vitamin E, like two friends protecting each other in a fight. In a large Canadian study of over 10,000 seniors, those who consumed both vitamin C and vitamin E regularly had nearly 50% lower risk of cognitive decline compared to those who did not. Citrus fruits, berries, and raw vegetables are rich in this nutrient, but it is important to eat them fresh since vitamin C is easily destroyed by cooking. Carotenoids, found in carrots, pumpkins, and dark leafy greens, act as precursors to vitamin A and also clear away free radicals. And then there are flavonoids, a wide group of plant compounds with extraordinary protective powers. Blueberries, cherries, apples, and green tea are full of them. Among flavonoids, anthocyanins, the pigments that give blueberries their deep color, have been shown to directly reduce amyloid beta proteins in the brain. I often remind my patients, a colorful plate is a healing plate. When your meals shine with reds, oranges, greens, and purples, you are not only pleasing your eyes, you are protecting your brain. The lesson is simple. Antioxidants are nature's medicine cabinet. They do not just help you live longer, they help you live well, with your memories intact and your independence preserved. Number 6. Common mistakes seniors make with brain diets. Over the years, I've seen many well-meaning seniors try to improve their brain health with food, but unfortunately, they fall into the same traps again and again. These mistakes can undo much of the good they are trying to achieve. By learning about them now, you can avoid them and make every meal truly count for your memory. The first mistake is relying too heavily on supplements instead of real foods. I meet many older adults who proudly show me their basket of pills, vitamin E capsules, vitamin C tablets, fish oil soft gels. Supplements can have their place, but when they replace whole foods, the body misses out on the natural balance of nutrients. For example, eating a handful of walnuts not only provides omega-3 fats, but also fiber, minerals, and plant compounds that pills cannot replicate. Nature always provides nutrition in harmony. The second mistake is consuming too much omega-6 fat without balancing it with omega-3. Vegetable oils such as corn, soybean, and sunflower are used in many packaged foods. Too much of these oils promotes inflammation in the body. The brain needs omega-3 fats from salmon, sardines, flax seeds, and chia seeds to balance out the equation. A good rule of thumb is to make sure fish or plant-based omega-3s appear on your plate at least several times each week. The third mistake is cooking away nutrients. Vitamin C, one of the strongest antioxidants for the brain, is extremely sensitive to heat. Boiling vegetables for too long or overcooking fruits and peas in jams can destroy much of this vitamin. Eating raw bell peppers, fresh citrus fruits, or a simple spinach salad ensures that the antioxidants remain intact and ready to fight oxidative stress. The fourth mistake is portion control, especially with healthy foods like nuts. I often tell my patients, yes, almonds and walnuts are excellent for your brain, but more is not always better. Eating more than a small handful each day can add unnecessary calories, strain the digestive system, and even affect cholesterol balance. Moderation is key. Finally, one of the biggest mistakes is believing that a single superfood will save the brain. I wish it were that simple. Real protection comes from a consistent pattern, balanced meals, colorful plates, regular exercise, and restful sleep all working together. If you recognize yourself in any of these mistakes, do not be discouraged. Awareness is the first step toward change, and every small change you make today is a step toward clearer thinking and stronger independence tomorrow. Number 7, lessons learned. Small choices, big changes. After 3 decades of working with older adults, I have come to believe one simple truth. Small daily choices shape the future of your brain and your independence. It is rarely one dramatic event that causes memory loss or muscle weakness. More often, it is the little habits repeated day after day, both good and bad, that determine whether someone ages with strength or with decline. I think of one patient, a retired teacher named Margaret. She came to me worried because her mother had suffered from dementia. At first, Margaret felt hopeless, believing she was destined to face the same fate. But together we worked on small steps. She replaced butter with olive oil, added berries to her breakfast, and began taking short walks after dinner. A year later, she told me she felt sharper, her energy was higher, and she had even returned to tutoring children in her neighborhood. Margaret's story is not about miracles, it is about the power of small, consistent change. Science backs this up. The National Institute on Aging has reported that older adults who follow healthy eating patterns, such as the Mediterranean diet, show slower rates of cognitive decline compared to those who eat a typical Western diet. This is not about expensive treatments or complicated regimens. It is about daily choices available to nearly everyone. Choosing fish instead of fried foods, fruit instead of candy, a glass of water instead of soda. The lesson here is that prevention and protection do not come from waiting for the perfect medicine. They come from the choices you make every time you sit down at the table. Each meal is either feeding health or fueling decline. So I want to ask you, what small choice could you start with today? Could you add one serving of vegetables to your lunch? Could you trade your evening snack for a handful of walnuts or blueberries? Could you take a 10-minute walk after dinner instead of sitting in front of the television? I encourage you to share your answer in the comments below. Your decision might inspire someone else to take that same step. Remember this, small choices add up. They build strength, preserve memory, and protect independence. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to start with one choice today and then repeat it tomorrow. That is how a healthier future is built. Number 8, movement as medicine for the brain. When I tell my patients that exercise is medicine for the brain, many look at me with surprise. They expect me to prescribe pills or supplements, not a simple walk around the block. But the truth is clear. Movement is one of the most powerful tools we have to protect memory, sharpen thinking, and slow down the progression of dementia. Every time you move, blood rushes to your brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients. This flow is like fuel for your neurons, keeping them alive and active. Exercise also stimulates the release of chemicals called growth factors, which help new brain connections form. Think of it as watering a garden. The more consistent the watering, the more vibrant the flowers. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that seniors who walk briskly for even 30 minutes a day have better memory and slower rates of cognitive decline compared to those who remain sedentary. And the benefits do not come only from intense workouts. Gentle strength training, stretching, or even dancing in your living room can improve circulation, balance, and confidence. I recall one of my patients, David, who had retired from factory work. By the time he turned 72, he complained of feeling foggy and tired. He admitted that most of his day was spent sitting. We began with a simple goal, 10 minutes of walking for breakfast. Over time, 10 minutes grew to 20, then 30. A year later, David proudly told me he no longer needed his afternoon naps, and his memory was sharper. His wife added that he laughed more often and seemed like his old self again. This is the hidden truth. Movement is not just about muscles, it is about mood and memory. The brain thrives on activity, and the body responds with renewed energy. You do not need to join a gym or run marathons. What you need is consistency. So let me ask you, how do you move each day? Do you have a favorite walk, a gentle stretch, or even a simple routine that keeps you active? Share your answer in the comments below. Your story may encourage someone who feels too tired or too old to begin. Remember, your body was made to move, and your brain depends on it. Each step, no matter how small, is a dose of medicine, a gift to your memory, your independence, and your future. Number 9, sleep and stress, the silent protectors of memory. If food is the fuel for your brain and movement is the medicine, then sleep is the repair shop. During the quiet hours of the night, your brain performs one of its most important jobs. It clears away the waste products that build up during the day, including the amyloid beta proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. Without good sleep, that cleaning process is disrupted, and over time, the garbage accumulates. Many seniors tell me they sleep lightly or wake up often. They shrug and say, that's just part of getting old. But research says otherwise. The National Sleep Foundation reports that older adults still need between 7 and 8 hours of restful sleep every night. And studies published in the Washington Post have shown that people who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours have a much higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who sleep enough. Stress is another hidden thief of memory. When your body is under constant pressure, whether from worry, financial concerns, or loneliness, it releases a hormone called cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol can be helpful. But when levels remain high for weeks or months, cortisol damages brain cells in the very area responsible for memory, the hippocampus. This is why people under chronic stress often complain of forgetfulness and mental fog. So what can you do? Start with a gentle evening routine. Turn off the television at least an hour before bed, sip a cup of warm herbal tea, and read something uplifting. Keep your bedroom dark and cool and try to go to bed at the same time each night. For stress, simple practices such as deep breathing, short prayers, or mindful walks in nature can lower cortisol and calm the mind. Even 5 minutes of quiet breathing can reset your nervous system. I often tell my patients, sleep and stress are not luxuries. They are necessities. They are the silent protectors of memory, working in the background while you rest. Now let me ask you, what helps you relax at night? Do you have a bedtime habit? Maybe listening to soft music or saying a prayer that brings you peace? Share your answer in the comments. Your routine might inspire another person to find rest and relief. Remember this, protecting your brain is not only about what you do in the daylight, but also about how you honor the quiet hours of the night. Sleep well, manage stress, and you give your memory the strength it needs to last. We have walked together through a journey of understanding Alzheimer's disease, from the plaques and tangles in the brain, to the role of genes, to the silent rusting of oxidative stress. We have looked at how good fats and antioxidants can shield your memory, and how movement, sleep, and stress management become daily medicines more powerful than many pills. Now, I want to leave you with this truth. Your future is not set in stone. No matter your age, no matter your family history, there are steps you can take today to protect your brain. The choices you make at the table, the way you move your body, the way you rest at night, all of these become investments in your independence, your clarity, and your joy. As a doctor with 3 decades of experience, I have witnessed both despair and hope. I have seen patients arrive in my office feeling powerless, convinced their best years were behind them. But with small, steady changes, I have also seen those same patients regain energy, sharpen their minds, and restore a sense of confidence. Science supports it, but more importantly, lived experience proves it. You are never too old, and it is never too late to make a difference for your brain. So I encourage you, begin with one small step. Add 1 handful of blueberries to your breakfast. Take 1 short walk after lunch. Go to bed half an hour earlier tonight. These steps may feel small, but together they build a path toward a stronger memory and a brighter tomorrow. And remember, you are not walking this road alone. I am here with you, and so are thousands of others who are part of this community. Together, we can fight back against memory loss and preserve the stories, the connections, and the laughter that make life worth living. I would love to hear from you. After watching this video and practicing even one of the steps we discussed, take a moment to reflect. How do you feel? Have you noticed changes in your energy, your focus, or even your mood? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Your story could be the encouragement that someone else needs to keep going. If this message touched your heart, please subscribe to Dr. Brain, share this video with a friend or family member, and help us build a circle of healing and knowledge. And if you are ready to continue learning, do not miss our next video. New study reveals antibiotics could be linked to memory decline. In it, we will uncover surprising new research that may change the way you think about everyday medications. Stay hopeful, stay strong, and above all, stay connected to your health, your loved ones, and to the future you deserve.